Hi folks, my name's Tom, also known as L Dude. I'm a record collector that lives in Melbourne, Australia. I've been collecting records for quite a while now. I've got a few pieces that date back to when I was 12, 13 years old and I went out and wanted to buy my first record with my dad. But the real majority of my records have been collected in the last sort of 3 to 5 years since moving to Australia. I had a trip a while back where I went to Japan. That was the inciting incident where I realised that there's a lot of music out there that I need to dig up and find. That was a great trip, and I buy lots of Japanese pressings of albums. I'm not one of those people that, I don't really know, I'm not an expert on which copies are more important than others and that sort of thing. It sounds good, that's all that matters to me. So yeah, I mostly listen to jazz. I like hard bop. I like John Coltrane, Blue Mitchell, Freddie Hubbard, those type of guys. But I'll listen to anything. I really like digging around in the worlds section, just coming across some unknown gems. And yeah, I listen to all sorts of genres. So I thought I'd just get started with my channel here and pull out a few of my favourite records, or just ones that stood out when I flicked through. But which ones shall I just talk about briefly? So, starting on that theme of going to Japan, when I was there, I stayed in this really cool cafe. It was a hotel above a cafe, bar, restaurant, everything. And the guy there, he was a record collector his whole life, and he kept all the records behind the bar. It was crazy. I went and sat at the bar, and through the language barrier we got talking about music, and he had this massive jazz collection. He gave me a few recommendations. So this one was one that I definitely valued from him. It's Toshiko Mariano Quartet. It's a very interesting duo, or quartet, but these two here, the title two, are a American-Japanese couple. She's the pianist and he plays saxophone, alto sax. Really, really, really good music. This is from '61. This copy's from later, I think. This is where did I put my notes? This one's from '77. But like I say, that makes no difference to me. The music inside is really good, and he's got nothing against his playing. He's a very good player, but I think she's really the standout on this album. The songs they play were written by the two of them, so it's not as if they were doing standards. They wrote their own music. Well, I'm sure they did standards too, but yeah, very good album that I recommend. I don't know if you would find this, maybe in some record shops you'd find it in the Japanese jazz section. So grab this if you ever see it. It's a very good album and pretty cheap as well. I think I picked it up for only like the equivalent of $5. So the next one I was going to show is this. This is the Cats. Actually a Tommy Flanagan album, but really the star of the show on this album is John Coltrane. I actually was just attracted by the artwork, and I wasn't too familiar with Tommy Flanagan's work, but turns out he plays piano on Saxophone Colossus, Sonny Rollins' album, which is a good one. And this is a great album. Another collection of original tracks. These were written by Tommy Flanagan. I think there's perhaps one or two standards, but great album, and yeah, Coltrane definitely steals the show on this one. great music. This is one I always go to. I just want to sit down and listen to some jazz, start to finish. Great album. This next one I'm sure a lot of you have listened to. It's Herbie Hancock, Man-Child. Very 70s album cover there. If you haven't heard it, it's from the 70s. It's the very funky jazz phase of Herbie Hancock. And the thing that piqued my interest on this, I mean, it's great music, but the song, I can't remember which one it is now, but I was just listening away and then suddenly I heard this harmonica solo that sounded a lot like Stevie Wonder. And I don't believe he's listed on here.
A few moments later.
Nope, he is listed on here, but I picked it out independently, and it makes sense. This is around the period of Songs in the Key of Life, and Herbie Hancock played on that album, and I guess he returned the favour on this one. Great album. This one I got here locally. Great copy here. Next is one of my all-time favourite albums. This copy, I can't remember where I got it. It was definitely not a record shop. It was at some car boot somewhere. I think it was probably in Sydney. The quality of the album is that the cover is, the sleeve is really quite crap, but the music's very noisy as well. I'd like to pick up a new copy of it, but the actual music itself is really incredible. Keith Jarrett, if you don't know him, is a pianist, and a lot of his albums are solo piano albums, and he just improvises the entire concert. So there's lots of different albums that he's released, usually named after the place they were recorded. There's the Paris concert, the Berlin concert. This one is the Cologne concert. This is my personal favourite. This was one of the albums that got me into jazz, actually. Beautiful music. And then my last recommendation today, back on the theme of the recommendations from that gentleman in Japan that I met. There's this Miles Davis album, 1958 Miles. Really incredible artwork here. This is a recording of basically the same lineup as the Kind of Blue album. It was recorded in 58, but it wasn't released until a lot later. Released in 1974, according to my notes here. This is a 77 copy, this is 79 copy, Japanese copy. The artwork was created by a Japanese artist called Masao Ikeda, and it's one of the, I mean, this just pops right off when you're flicking through. This just calls to you, and the music is dynamite. It really is. Like, everyone recommends the Kind of Blue album, and rightfully so, and definitely beginners in jazz, they all start there. This is a great place as well. This is the next step. It was recorded 6 months before Kind of Blue, and yeah, you can tell. Lots of standards on here. You've got On a Dolphin Street, Stella by Starlight, all those classics. So yeah, Campbell Adderley, Bill Evans, Paul Chambers, the whole crew. So those were just a few of my favourite albums. I've got plenty more where they came from. I'll show more, next week and ongoing. And I'm just excited to get to know everyone in the VC, the vinyl community. I'm watching plenty of videos and looking forward to chatting away with you. if you have these albums, let me know. Or if you have other recommendations that tie in with them, let me know too. And have a great day. See ya. Bye.